Hello, Internet family. This is Anjanette Potter, also known as Adam's Rib, and you are listening to um, Fridays Live at Noon. It seems like the last couple of Fridays I've been a little sluggish. Um, so this right now is courtesy of Ebony Magazine. Controversial YouTube influencer and relationship expert Kevin Samuels has passed away. Dude was, I think, 56 or 57, depending on who you listen to. So, a close friend of. I know I hate when I accidentally hit something with my hand. So, okay, so it says a close friend of Kevin Samuels named Melanie King has just confirmed that he has passed away. And I read something earlier where his mother said she didn't know until social media, which is really incredibly sad. So, she says in her video, which is featured on, looks like Instagram, Twitter. She went live on Twitter, looks like. Not his mother, but the family friend. And she says, I have family confirmation. She said in the video, this is 100%. The funeral will most likely be in Oklahoma City. He gained a large following on social media for relationship advice he offered on his YouTube channel that was described as misogynistic and insulting to Black women. He was a very polarizing figure, and many forcefully objected to his unconventional opinion, while others were drawn to his advice, which he had characterized as truth-telling. To date, he has 1.443 million followers. Now, to me, that kind of says a lot about what Black men think about Black women. So, as a general rule, I tend to stay away from influencers that are always having something negative to say about Black women. Number one, as you can see, I am a Black woman. So even though there are those that would fit within my own color that I've had issues with, that I've not gotten along with all the time, I still am a Black woman, and I still stand in solidarity with us. Okay? Not on every issue. I don't have what I call dysfunctional Black loyalty, which is where you stand with the person because they Black and no other reason, and just be, and they can be wrong and you can still be standing with them. I ain't that person. Okay? If I think your opinion is misguided, I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to fool with it. If I feel that it is and so, when it comes to Black men who always have a whole lot of negative things to say about Black women, I don't get down with it, and I don't support it. Now, I personally, people have said, well, people are rejoicing at this brother's death and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to say this. Why is it that Black men can get on every platform there is and tear us a new one on a regular basis and do all kind of craziness, just like the little brother that got stabbed to death by his little white girlfriend, and Black women ain't this, and blah, 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 and go all the way up to their death saying crazy stuff about Black women. And the moment that Black women decide they don't want to get involved, because Black women got criticized for not wanting to help the family, and I'm like, this brother went all the way up to his death talking crazy about Black women. That's the number one thing. It's one thing to have a preference, but when your preference causes you to act crazy with women who are not your preference, Yeah, I can't get with you. We setting this one out. Okay? You can't be mad at us because we don't want to sit over here and continue to keep acting like emotional misogynists and keep backing up men who keep showing us that they don't have any care or concern about us at all. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And why would you expect us to do it? And well, she walking around here free, and don't you think that's wrong? It depends on why she's walking around free. That number one, there's that issue, but also number two, there's also the accusation that he, was violent toward his girlfriend. Now, if you've been violent toward her, regardless of whether you said anything negative about black women at all, I'm definitely not having your back because I don't back up abusers. So now we come to another controversial figure that people are shocked. Why are you shocked that women are reacting the way that they're reacting? This brother did everything he could to tear black women down. And the fact that he had so many followers. I remember, now it's funny to me how you have all these black men who are, y'all act like y'all wasn't raised right, and this, that, who raised you, and this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, but when this brother was alive, every time he said something negative or tore a black woman down or humiliated a black woman on social media or said what he said, y'all was right there listening to all of it and co-signing on it and agreeing with everything that he was saying and tearing us a new one. In fact, well, one of the other social influencers that black women listen to on a regular basis got uncovered for having an affair. What did you do? All of y'all's little dusty behinds couldn't wait to get on social media and criticize black women for following him. Now, you didn't like him because he gave black women hope. And one of the things that I looked at and I was like, yeah, because he gives black women hope, because he gives black women the courage to leap, because he's given his audience, the majority of which are black, because there were other colors, the courage to walk away from bad relationships, to walk away from bad men, to not spend 20, 30 years in a relationship that's stuck and ain't going nowhere, to not sit around and let a man mooch off of you spiritually, sexually, psychologically, and every other way. So when you get, so now one of your idols have bit the dust and you're having a fit because black women are not acting like we're exactly mourning his death. Now, my opinion, I hope he's right with God. I hope on his way up out of here that he was right with God. I hope that he's right with God. I hope that he made his peace before he left here. And I hope I do hope he made it. I hope he made it to heaven. Because eternity is a long time to be in the wrong place. I feel bad for the relatives and people that were close to him. Because I didn't care too much for him, and just because others didn't care too much for him, doesn't mean that there weren't people who do like him. Yes, he had about 1 million and some followers, and guess what? I wasn't one of them. Because true to my loyalty to black women who are not always loyal back, okay, which is a topic for another day. First of all, being loyal to black women is being loyal to myself. I am a black woman, and I know the times that I have been treated like I was angry for absolutely no reason. I was looking up research for another podcast that I'm working on, and I saw this article, this blog post where this woman said, a sister walked away from the faith, where this sister said, never mind that pretty much every time black women pretty much always have to be loud in order to be heard. Now I'm going to quote comedian D.L. Hughley again. You're always too loud when someone doesn't intend to listen to you. And I'm not a pretender. You know, I hear you all the time. I hear you because I am you. I remember, listening to this one black dude on YouTube, and he started rating the sisters he said the average sister is about a 5 or 6. And I'm like, okay, in comparison to who? Now, it's terrible when you can't even trust your own men to love you and find you more desirable than they do any other woman. And I've been seeing, and some of the behavior I've been seeing lately, you want us to betray each other to curry your favor. So the fact that he has a million and some followers saying some of the stuff that he was saying says a lot about men and who they will follow. I was never a follower of this guy to begin with, because I saw him tear down the self-esteem of a future black queen. And that did it for me. This girl is doing positive things with her life, and you tear her down, and there was nothing wrong with her looks. You have people who say, well, he's just saying what a lot of people don't want to hear. There's a difference between hard-hitting truth and verbal abuse. And you cannot tear people, repeatedly say things that are designed. And I've heard a lot of abusive talk. I remember hearing his son one time through somebody else's channel. And black women are not going to submit. Who they going to go to? Like, you're just daring us to go to somebody else. He was a dusty. He was not a good person. And I will say the final straw for the camel's back for me was when he advised mothers not to listen to their daughters when it comes to allegations of molestation against their husband. Obviously, this is someone who has never worked with the child welfare agencies and never did any type of deep dive or never investigated a news story or anything like that. If he really checked it out, first of all, children are abused. When children are abused or molested, it could be anybody. It could be grandpa, it could be grandma, it could be people that are blood related to them. It isn't always the stepfather. But the fact that he decided to go in that direction really made me go, bro, really? I'm like, that's horrible advice. And all you have to do is listen to the adults who have had to deal with that situation of telling their mother or telling their parents and not being believed, and how devastating it is when you are in that situation and you're not believed. It's enough folks running around here defending guilty men as it is. But then to turn around and have somebody who has that much influence saying that. And then, I listen, and like I said, as a rule, I don't listen to him. I never listened to him. I never got into him. And to me, he's just another part of the manosphere. Another one of these men's rights folks that's running around here. And you have to read up on the manosphere. They have some serious ties to very, very violent behavior. Some of these people are, awful. They're very awful. So, he has ties. The manosphere is basically, and I've said this before on my podcast, that they are a bunch of folks, mainly a lot of white men, but men's rights. They're incels, MGTOW, pickup artists, different other men's rights advocates. And I always find it interesting that when a minority group or a marginalized group, such as women or minorities, decide to assert their rights, it's always seen as, quote, reverse racism. Child, please. Or oppression. If you are a privileged group, you really can't be oppressed. People can be bigoted towards you. People can pick on you. They can bully you. But as far as oppression, if they do not have the power to stop you from doing things that you want to do, like holding a job, taking care of your family, then you are really not oppressed. Okay? I mean, you're really not oppressed. There's somebody out there, real oppression is when you are being pressed down upon and it's resulting in you not being able to rise as high as you could without the oppression. So when I hear, white guys complaining because women don't want to date them. Well, if all you got to do is maybe clean up your act a little bit, you don't have that problem. Part of the problem is that really in 2022, pursuit is still seen as men's territory. And because it is seen as men's territory, it is up to women to look like somebody, to dress up for the pursuit. Okay, in other words, look presentable no matter where you go. Look your best so that even men that you don't want approaching you will approach you, because that's oftentimes what happens. Think about how many times women get approached by men they don't like, and they let them know that they're not interested up front. And the first thing out of men's mouths is, well, y'all sit over here and dress all desirable and look all good and everything. I'm like, no matter where we go, So, no, I'm not exactly mourning Kevin Samuel's death. I'm one of those horrible black women that y'all talking about that ain't exactly mourning this brother's death. Okay? I wouldn't wish death on anybody. I feel bad for the family because they're going to miss him. I feel bad for the family, the people who loved him, who, saw whatever good that the rest of us didn't see, that they're going to be, they're going to miss him. If he knew Christ in this lifetime, and y'all know Christ now, you will see him again. I'm going to be fair on this one. Okay? But any negativity that Kevin Samuels, unfortunately, is not going to experience because he's no longer with us. But because of the legacy he left behind, the people that he loves are going to have to hear all this negativity that y'all claiming that he's getting. Okay, just like the young black man who was, killed by his girlfriend. He lived a sloppy life when it came to his opinions on black women. Now their loved ones got to sit here and suffer and hear black women say, you know what, I'm really not trying to help on this one. Okay. Some of the negativity that Kevin Samuels caught was negativity that Kevin Samuels kind of brought on himself. You cannot sow negative seeds and expect a positive harvest. You cannot sit over here. I just recently went through a thing where a bunch of people were praying for me, and the Holy Spirit showed me they're praying for you to become a prostitute. What they're really doing is operating in human trafficking. Okay? It's not a good feeling, and none of it was anything that I did that brought any of it on. Okay? Because when you have very fragile males with very fragile male egos, they do stuff like that. They wish evil upon you because of what they couldn't get out of you. Now, I as a black woman, I'm never going to divest from the black community. It's never going to happen. Okay? I've heard out a few divestors, and, I hear a lot of their points about why, because it's very taxing. It's very taxing. I'm listening to the audio book of Reclaiming Our Space by Feminista Jones. And it is very hard to be fighting the good fight of faith. It's hard to fight for human rights. It's hard to fight for civil rights. It's hard to fight for rights when you're hearing the people that are benefiting from the fight that you're fighting coming at you and tearing you up. Now, I'm listening to the whole thing of Roe v. Wade possibly being overturned. Okay. Now, I have this to say about that. If you are a person that earned the rights that you got by way of a picket sign, if your rights were earned by way of a picket sign, you really need to pay attention to this. Now, I am a born-again Christian, so I belong to the group that's less likely to support legalized abortion. However, I am also a Black born-again feminist, born-again Christian, and I'm saying this is like the beginning. So I, looked at I've seen, I saw the footage of the, what is it, Met Gala or whatever, where the theme was Gilded Age. I don't think that's an accident. Because a lot of the groundwork to set us back has been coming since Trump got in. Okay, and I looked up women's rights in the Gilded Age, and women and Black people virtually had no rights. And the Gilded Age was going on around the same time as women's suffrage. Remember, I talked about first wave feminism. So you need to think about the fact, abortion rights, well, maybe that might not be your fight because you are, because of your stance on abortion. But your right to vote is a feminist issue. Okay? That is a feminist issue. Women, your very right to vote is a feminist issue, is a right that was obtained through picketing, is a right that was attained through first wave feminism. And because I do 21 days of Black feminism, 28 or 29 days of Black feminism every February, we've talked about, I had the 1 year where I talked about first wave feminism and that there were Black women present during that time. Because there are people who try to act like, well, white feminism and Black feminism. Let me say this. I'm like Alice Walker, who said it's a shade of turning. Okay? If you didn't see the deficits in quote, white feminism, you would have never been moved to make your own changes and to get involved. As I have said before on prior podcasts, and as I will continue to say, when you're talking about the fight for women's rights, there are going to be variables because everyone is not fighting. Even though our basic rights like voting, equal opportunities, equal pay, equality is about the same. Culturally different women are fighting different things because of the whole issue of intersectionality. So, and you also have, gay or queer, Black women in their fight versus straight cis Black women in their fight. You also have Christian or religious Black women and their fight. And that's just Black women alone. That's not accounting for Asian women. That's not accounting for Italian women. That's not accounted for Middle Eastern women and different other people who don't even have the rights that American women have. So when you are talking about that whole thing, you have to reckon with the fact that even the issue of marriage is a very loaded issue, because not all feminists agree that marriage is beneficial to women. Some women, some women see it as a hindrance. Um, Other women see it as a benefit, but want to have certain rights within marriage, because see a lot of men unfortunately have a tendency to view a marriage license as a bill of sale. And so when you have people who have that attitude, who think of women as property, um, who think of women as property, that's a whole nother thing that you have. That's a whole nother fight that you have going on. What are your rights within the marriage? A someone posted a post and asked if a man asked a woman to come off her job and he would take care of her financially, what her answer would be. And I posted and I just said, we would have to work out what my rights are, because traditional men tend to want traditional women. And depending on what their attitude is about tradition, you may be signing up for some mess. One woman said she fell for it, and never in her life did she encounter such manipulation, controlling behavior, probably psychological and emotional abuse, because not all abuse is physical. If you are listening here lately, unless you've been under a rock, I'm sure you've seen all kind of headlines about the whole what's his name, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I'm like, Lord, if I had to talk to either one of them, if I had to be either one of their marriage or family therapists, I'd be like, do not ever get back together. Because both of you guys are a hot mess. Okay? You have the manosphere now getting involved, which I think I smell manosphere all over that case, especially with the petition to get Amber Heard fired from, her thing. This is crazy. I'm like, this is one of the reasons why we need to intercede on behalf of this lost world, because it's really a mess. I'm finishing my blog post. So CeCe Winans has a brand new album out. And if you are a praise and worship leader, I'm telling you right now, this album is the blueprint for praise and worship. It is the outline. And I'm going to do a blog post to talk about why I feel like it is the outline. A sister, by the time you finish this album, you will be on your face eating carpet. That is just how deep this album is. As soon as I turned on the first album, it's a live concert album. As soon as I turned on this album, I was like, oh yeah. When I talk about being in music ministry, this is what I'm talking about. The ability to lead the people and minister through music, the ability to render the word as you do it. My girl, and the first song is called Fire, and it is just that. It is fire. Leading people into the presence of God. Ideal outer court song, outer court or inner court. Most people use up-tempo songs to do inner and outer court worship. And usually by the time they get into what we call the Holy of Holies, where we have, the glory has come. That's when people start doing the more intimate songs, because now you're in a place of intimacy. And things happen there. People get delivered. People get set free. You get the answer to a lot of things that you've been wanting to do. You get miraculous turnaround in your situations. And it's just awesome. But it has to be the Spirit of the Lord. I'm concerned because there's been a lot of deception within the body of Christ here lately. So, like, a lot of people are walking away from um, really, really false teachings. I've been getting back to the basics. What does the Word of God say about you as a born again believer? Because you have people who are masking up all kinds of sexual misconduct, and they're teaching things like I said before, I tell women all the time, men cannot be trusted. Okay, you have to watch, because men are more likely. A quote from Steve Harvey: "Men know what they want when they approach you." Even in church, this is one of the reasons why I have never felt bad about turning men down, about telling men I'm not interested. Way too often, as women, we have what Oprah defines as the disease to please. And it's not by accident. We've been socialized and groomed to please everybody, including men that are not very safe to be around. Like I said with Mr. Samuels, the thing that did me in with him, I'm like, I am just too through with you, is when he did the post on telling women not to believe their daughters when their daughters tell them that their husband has molested them. And so during the course of this particular post, he made this remark toward this woman. He was coaching this woman. And he said, now, what if we got kids together? You're not taking my kids anywhere. And then there was the ultimate power move. If you want to leave, you can. But my children are staying right here. Okay? Some of y'all got triggered just hearing that statement because you've heard it before. The whole, I'm the one with the money and the resources, because by now I've groomed you by telling you, baby, you ain't got to work. Many of us have heard that old line, baby, you ain't got to work. I'll take care of everything. And as soon as you no longer have any other resources and have no money of your own and are financially dependent on them, then they show you their real face. Okay, which is, like I said, if men want women to be less independent, which I think is crazy, because a woman who knows how to work, that has skills, that has the ability to go out here and be hired, is an asset to you. Because if nothing else, if stuff goes wrong, she can go back to work. If you get laid off, she's an addition. That's just what that is. So, to sit over here and, act like, especially if you're not in a position to financially take care of a woman, it would be different if because many of the men that I hear calling themselves traditional males don't have the earning power, say this, and they don't have the earning power to sustain a home with a woman in that home. So I can remember being at a church, and they said that to every woman. It was like a blanket statement that they made toward every woman. And me being me, I'm like, I have always worked, and I have always taken care of self. So, you can't run them games on me. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think that's the problem with some guys, is that they can't play that power move of trying to bully you sexually in exchange for their little ducats. I said it, and I said it out loud. I don't have no problem saying what I think. Okay. Anyway, I will be going live tonight on Station Head and be covering black people, the black presence in country music. I'm also going to do a little bit of a tribute to Miss Naomi Judd and her daughter Winona. for, you know, the Judd family. So there will be, I'll also discuss the people who were deceased the week that I originally planned this broadcast. So basically you're getting the broadcast that that was supposed to happen, but I chose to do the Prince tribute instead. So I will see you guys tonight at midnight. You all enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Friday, whatever you get into. I know here in Columbus, it was busting up. It was storming something fierce. So, you know, we had, and for me, when it's raining like this, it just makes me sleepy. So it's been really good sleepy weather. So, you guys have a good one. Enjoy your week. For those like me that aren't exactly mourning Kevin Samuels, please behave. Do not harass. Please do not harass the family. Please do not harass his loved ones. Try to offer words of encouragement. If his advice meant anything to you, then yes, you can encourage them by saying what his advice meant to you. If you just want to offer them words of encouragement and, you know, let them know, yeah, I didn't agree with him, I didn't listen to him, but your family is in my prayers, you can do that. Don't go hard on them, because it is not their fault. It is not their fault that he was who he was when he was alive. Okay? So you guys have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to, you know, like I said, I'm going to be going live at midnight on Station Head. So I will be on Station Head with Eclectic Music Geek from midnight to about 3 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, you know, tribute to country music, Black people in country. It isn't just Charlie Pride. there are other brothers and sisters in country besides Charlie Pride. And they are successful and doing and thriving pretty well. You'll be surprised who is doing it and doing it well. And it isn't just Little Nas X either. Okay, it's quite a few people, and they sound good. So, you know, if you can find it within yourself to show your love and support, please do. I will be talking about the artists. They are up on my Adam's Rib 66 profile under Spotify. If you want to listen to them and hear the playlist, you can do it because it's already up. It's been up for a couple of weeks now. So I will be doing that, and you know, be discussing some more topics. I'll be trying to create some more content. I've gotten a couple of blog posts. I've gotten about 3 or 4 or 5 blog posts up. Yeah, all of my content is a video. I still post on my WordPress blogs, which I have 14 of them now, because I've added more of my interests to my blog. So I will see you guys tonight, and you know, those that I don't see tonight, you know, the protocol is, once I get done with the show and it's all nice and packaged, I'll be posting it to the Perfect Pitch Perfect Pitch blog. I just posted the video for the introduction to the artists that are inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Dolly Parton is officially nominated, as is Lionel Richie. Eminem. It's quite a few. So go to the Perfect Pitch. If you're subscribed to my Perfect Pitch blog, go to my Perfect Pitch blog and you will see the video and the date that they're supposed to be inducted. So, once again, you guys have a good weekend. Love you, and I will see you over the internet.